Yeah, hi Ganesh and Swagat. Hello. Yeah, am
Yeah,
I audible?
yeah, you can.
Yeah. So I have total around 3 years experience. Currently, I'm working with TCS. So currently, I'm working on-premises cloud, like Python and using Python and Spark and Hive. Just I want to explore at least one cloud going forward. So that's the reason I joined this session. So I chosen GCP at the moment. So I want to know what exactly component services available in GCP.
Okay.
This is update from my end.
Okay. Bharat?
Hello. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can able to hear you.
Okay. Hi, this is Bharat. So myself working as a data engineer for the past 4 to 5 years, but I have an experience on the on-prem. Okay. So here we are doing the Spark-based pipeline, the data engineering pipelines. That is something we are developing. So I don't have the cloud experience. So, but I have a little bit exposure to the GCP by myself. Okay. So that is the reason I have joined in the course to deep dive to the GCP course.
Got it. Naveen?
Hello, hi everyone. This is Naveen, and at present I'm working as a ETL developer. I have no exposure to cloud. I want to continue my career as a Google Cloud data engineer. So for that reason, I have joined this course.
Okay, got it. Vinod?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, we are.
Yes. Myself, I'm working as a SQL developer. So I just want to explore my career as a data engineer. So that's the reason I have joined.
Okay, got it. Yes, Wakata, we can go ahead. Also, there are like supposed to 3 people supposed to join, but they're a bit busy. So I'll share them recording. So yeah, you can go ahead, Zabat.
Okay, fine. So hi guys, myself Swagat. I'm having around 9 years of experience in IT and around 4 years of experience, particularly in the GCP. I have like completed couple of certification. So let me share also my screen. Okay, so I have also done multiple certification also in the GCP. So, and as I told, like I've been working in the GCP. I've been using the GCP services only as a as a data engineer for past almost 4 or 5 years. And so in this course, we are going to focus on the GCP professional data engineer relevant topics. So if you see in the GCP, in the Google Cloud services, there are many services available. There are services for the DevOps people, there are services for the networking people, there are services for the, like you can say, architects. So we are going to focus on the services which are relevant for the data engineers. And also, if you are planning to go for the certification, for the GCP certification, you can definitely go. And after completion of the course. And so if I talk about the certification, GCP certification exam, so in that exam, Google Cloud is going to ask you, like Google is going to ask you around 45 to 50 questions you will get in that exam. And so right now, like they have earlier, they used to ask some of the case study based questions, but right now they have changed their pattern, and you will mostly get the straightforward questions, along with like the questions are not very easy, but there will be no case study type of questions. But if you have done the hands-on, if you have used all the services of the Google Cloud, and if you follow the course dedicatedly till the end, you will be definitely able to clear the exam without any doubt. So that was about the exam. And in this course, we are going to cover more than whatever the topics are needed for that exam. Okay, so we are going to cover lots of hands-on along with the theoretical concept. So And as I told, we are going to cover much more than which are required for the exam also. So if you'll see in case of GCP certification, there are many certifications available, just like AWS or Azure. So in the GCP also, there are many certifications available. But this course, we have only focused on the data engineer certificate, only the topics which are relevant to data engineer. Because if you see in case of cloud developer or DevOps, so there are some other services which are hold more significant for a DevOps engineer or for a cloud developer. But here in this course, we are more focused on the data engineering topics. And so this was about the cost of the exam, the data engineering exam. So I think the registration cost will be around $200. Okay. And if you are getting voucher from your company, then you can definitely go ahead and you can attend the certification exam. So how to practice, how to do the hands-on. So I'll tell you how to create a GCP free trial account using your credit card or debit card. And the free trial account will be having $300 of the credit, which will be valid for the 3 months or 90 days. So that is more than enough to practice all the services of the GCP that are relevant for the data engineer. So after completing, like you can practice all the hands-on within that 3 months. Okay. And also if you want to create one more account after completion of the 3 months, you can also do that. The only thing that you need to have a new Google Cloud account, and there are some steps which you need to follow creating the GCP account. Okay. So I'll talk about that. And if you see the course, how the course is organized. So we are going to cover the engineering concept for I think for first week, 1 week or 2 weeks, we are going to cover the data engineering concept. And then we are going to cover the GCP fundamentals. Okay. So whatever the fundamental services are there, or the basic services are there. So we are going to cover that. And then we are going to cover the storage services. After completing storage, we are going to cover the database services, and then the data processing services, and then finally the machine learning services, which are also required for a data engineer to know. So those things we are going to cover. I'll talk about each of the services in detail. And then we are also doing some project, like we are doing lots of hands-on. Along with that, I'll give you some of the codes which you can also practice on your own. And if you face any issue, any difficulty, you can ask me in the class, or if we have a WhatsApp group as well, so where you can also ask your doubts. Now coming to the particularly the what are the topics we are going to cover. So let me talk about that in detail. So as I told, we are going to cover the topics which are relevant for the data engineer, right? So for all the data engineering topics, we are going to cover. So initial classes, we are going to cover the data engineering fundamentals. So where we'll be covering the ELT and ETL concept, and then we'll be covering the OLAP, LTP, and we are also going to cover the data warehousing concept and the HCD concept. So these are the fundamentals there. We are going to cover that in the data engineering fundamentals. And then we are going to cover the GCP fundamentals. So what are the services available in case of GCP, and how the billings are happening in the GCP for each of the services, and then like we'll do the comparison of GCP versus Azure versus AWS. So what are the alternative available in these platforms? And then we are going to cover the GCP Basic Services, where we'll be covering the compute engine, Google Cloud Compute Engine, Google Cloud App Engine, Cloud Run, and Cloud Function. And then we are also going to cover the Kubernetes engine. So these are the services which we are going to cover in case of the basic services. And then after covering the basic services, we are again, like while covering each of the services. So covering means I am going to cover the theoretical concept first and related hands-on. Okay, so for each of the services, whether it is computing, GKE, so we'll cover end-to-end theoretical concept and then along with the related hands-on. So after covering the basic services, we are going to cover the storage services. So in the storage, we have Google Cloud Storage. Okay, that we are going to cover. And in the cloud storage, we have, there are many things like data transfer services. So those things we are going to cover in storage. Then we'll be having the database services. So in the database services, we have Cloud SQL, we have Spanner, and then we have Bigtable, we have Data Store, Firestore. And then we have Memstore. All of these things we are going to cover in the database services. And also one thing I forgot here. So in the fundamentals, in the basic services or in the fundamentals, we will be also covering the IAM part, which is the identity and access management. Then cover the database services. We are going to cover the data warehousing services, which is BigQuery. Okay. And then after covering the BigQuery, so we are going to cover the data processing services. So in the data processing services, we have data flow, we have data proc, and we have data fusion. So these are the services which we are going to cover in the data processing part. After that, we have the, we can say, workflow related services. So when you are creating your pipeline, how you can create the workflow, how you can orchestrate your pipeline. So for that, we are going to cover the cloud computer, which is the managed Airflow service. And then after covering cloud composure, so we are going to cover the some of the, as I told, ML related services. So like we'll be covering the data prep, and we are going to cover the data catalog, which is the metadata management. And then we are going to cover DAP API and the ML part, where we are going to cover text AI, DQML. So as a data engineer, you don't need to know, you don't need to have the in-depth knowledge on the big on the machine learning part, but still you need to have some of the fundamental knowledge. At least you should know how to use these services whenever you are creating a kind of basic model using the machine learning, like some linear regression model or logistic regression model. While creating those basic model, how you can build those model using the Vertex AI or AutoML. Those things, and then the Google Lookers also we are going to cover. So these are the topics which we are going to cover in detail. And it's going to take, if I'll talk about the classes. So we are going to conduct the classes only on the weekdays, which is from Monday to Friday. Timing will be from 8 to 9 p.m. So every weekdays. And it's going to take 35 to 40 hours to complete all the complete syllabus. And yeah, so we are going to create the WhatsApp group, so where you all will be part of that group. And if you have any doubts, you can anytime reach out to me. You can post your doubt on that group. Any doubts related to topic, any doubts related to if you are doing some hands-on on your own, and if you get stuck somewhere, you can also post that in that WhatsApp group. I don't mind discussing about that also. And there will be a Google Drive folder, so where all the lectures, like all the videos and the course, PPT, everything will be uploaded to that Google Drive folder, and guys will be updating that folder. Yeah, so as I told, like this is like we are updating this course as well, and there are some advanced concepts also which we have already included in this course. So for example, as a data engineer, so there are some recent trends or recent tools which people are using in the data engineering project. For example, you might have heard about the DBT, you might have heard about the data form and date expectation. So you might have heard about these tools. So these are kind of data transformation tool, okay? So which we are also going to cover, and demo which I'll be showing right now also, it is also based on the DBT, which is the data build tool. So but in the class, we are going to cover in detail, and also how to configure DBT along with the Airflow of the Cloud Composer, so that you can build your complete pipeline. So that also we are going to cover. And so these are the topics like these we have added recently, like we have also covered it in the previous batch as well. So yeah, so these are the also topics which we are going to cover in this course. And coming to the prerequisite which is needed for this course. So all the course and all the hands-on we are going to whatever we are going to do. So we'll be using the Python script, and we are along with Python, we are going to use PySpark, Spark SQL, and the SQL, and some of the shell script. So if you have knowledge on the Python, it's really good. If you don't have also, we can guide you how to, which resources you can follow, so that you can gain the knowledge on the Python, so that you will be able to understand the codes, whatever we are going to explain, or whatever we are going to use, you will be able to understand that. So these are the prerequisites, I will say, for this course. If you have the knowledge on the Python, PySpark, how the concept of the PySpark works, it's good to have, because it is not possible to cover these topics in detail in this course along with the GCP services within that 35-40 hours. So it's not possible. So that is why I'll be honest with you. I'll not say like you don't need any knowledge, but these are the knowledge, because if you as a data engineer, you need to have in-depth knowledge in these topics. Okay. So that is what I will request you to, if you are planning to switch to data engineering, or if you're already working as a data engineer, that's fine. But if somebody is planning to switch into data engineering field, so let's start learning these topics. And you can definitely look to me. So whatever the resources I know which are best for like which are best for these topics, so I'll be also sharing that in the class as well. Yeah, so that's it about the course, and I don't think I have missed anything. So if you have any questions related to the course, you can definitely on yourself and you can ask. Or else we can go ahead and we can see the hands-on which I was with the demo which I showing you.
Any question from anyone?
I have one question, Ganesh, from my end. So once you completed the class, right, every day, Swagat, is there any tasks you will give for practice after the class for us?
Yes. So let's say I am doing some of the Python code, like let's say I'm interacting with Python, like I am using some Python script along with a BigQuery. I will be also sharing some of the code with you to practice and to do that hands-on, to complete that hands-on on your own. So for each of the topic, I'll be sharing that with you, and you need to follow that. You need to like, you need to follow that dedicated. That's what I ask you. So you need to practice that on your own. If you face any issue, definitely you can post your error on the group, or you can ask on the class. But yeah, that is what we are going to do. Like, let's say I'm doing some hands-on, it's not possible to complete all the hands-on on the class. I'll be sharing some of the project hands-on with you as well. I want you to complete that also. Yeah, so if you face any issue, you can ask me.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah. Are we going to discuss any real-time scenarios and real-time projects and how to answer in the interviews? As we are switching our career to the GCP data engineering, because we have the experience on the on-prem, we don't have experience on the GCP, and people are asking like, how do you migrate your data? And so recently I have attended a couple of the interviews. They're asking me like the service accounts and how are you provisioning the permissions to the different services in the GCP, and how are you going to communicate? So when it comes to the within the GCP, providing the roles and responsible, roles and the permissions is different from the entities which are outside of the GCP. Let's say, for example, if I want to migrate the data from the HDFS to the GCP, how are you going to provisioning the service accounts and all those things?
So that will be covered in detail in the class as well. Okay, so all the questions, whatever you will get in the interview related to the GCP. So after the completion of the course, I can guarantee you that you'll be able to answer all of these questions. How to create service account, what is the use of service account, how to interact with HDFS or Hive or Spark. You can definitely how to migrate also. What is the plan? How to migrate? Let's say you want to migrate from Teradata to BigQuery. So how to do that step by step. So obviously we cannot do this type of hands-on, like we don't have a setup on the Teradata. But I can share you the concept how to migrate it from Teradata to BigQuery step by step. So those concepts I can explain to you. And any concept related to the, let's say, BigQuery, any concept related to the service account or whatever you told. So service account is part of the IAM topic. So that will be covered in detail while discussing about the IAM. So definitely you will be able to answer. I'm pretty sure like if you follow the class diligently, and if you follow all lectures, and if you practice all the hands-on, I don't think you'll face any issues while answering the questions related to the GCP. But I cannot guarantee you on the PySpark, because whenever you are going for attending any data engineering interview, so initially they'll ask you questions on the PySpark and Python related topic. So I can't guarantee you on that, because that based on your knowledge on the first part, your knowledge on the Python, how good are you in building the logic. So that depends on you. But when it comes to the GCP services, that I can definitely guarantee you, like we are going to cover everything in detail, and you'll get whatever the questions you are getting in the interview, you'll be able to answer also. Like we are also covering, like we are updating this course every batch, we are updating this, because GCP is a cloud services and they are releasing many features like every now and then. Okay, so we are also covering all those features. For example, if you see in case of a BigQuery, so there are concepts like time travel, there are concepts like fail-safe and cloning. BigQuery itself, you can say it holds a lot of importance for a data engineer, and you will get lots of questions on the related to the BigQuery topic. So these are some of the recent like features which GCP has released for the BigQuery, like in the cloning, there is something called a snapshot. So we are covering all these topics in detail as well. Okay, so you will not face any issues, any difficulty while answering the questions related to the GCP. But definitely, like these things, I can't guarantee on that, because as I told, this course we are not going to cover your Python topics, not going to cover PySpark. So I can't guarantee you on that. But questions related to the GCP, definitely you will be able to answer.
Okay, so one last thing I had. So are we going to cover the CDC, the change data capture? I know you mentioned about the SCD as part of the data warehousing concept.
So CDC will be also covered we'll be covering, like while discussing about the BigQuery, while doing the transformation, while creating the tables. So we are going to cover the CDC concept.
Yeah. So one last thing is about what about the security? So data at rest security levels, the column level security, row level security, and encryptions. Are we going to discuss
That
as
is
part
the
of this
part
course?
of DLP API. That is the part of DLP API. So that is also we are going to cover. See the DLP API. So where you can encrypt your data, you can decrypt your data, you can create template, how to encrypt your data. So that will be the part of DLP API. So that also we are going to cover.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay.
Yeah, one last question I had, Swagat. One last question, sorry to disturb you. So practice-wise, you told something, right? We get access for only 3 months. Can you explain that once again?
Yeah, so as you can see, so this is how the GCP console looks like. Okay. So this is the dashboard. Okay, so here you can see what are services you are using, and you can see the building information as well. What is your project? So everything you can see here. Now coming to the free trial account. So if you go to your billing, so you can see billing. So as you can see here, there are some credits which it is showing, right? And if I'll go to the credits, so here you can see the free trial credit. Okay, So which is so when I created the account, this was the credit which I got because I created in so this account is I created from India. So whatever the credit I got, like $300, I can convert it to INR. So that much credit you will get on your free trial account, and this credit will be valid for 3 months. As you can see, I created the account in May, and the credit is valid till 16th of August. So exactly for 90 days, the credit will be valid, and you can create, can use this credit, okay, for creating any resources on the free trial account. This was the free trial credit. And the second credit which you are seeing, so that is different. So this is just for the Databricks, which I created, and this credit is just I'm getting only for the Databricks, which is for only for 14 days you'll get Databricks credit. So that is different thing. But the GCP account, once you'll create your free trial account, so on the free trial account, if you go to, once the free trial account is activated, okay. So once the free trial account is activated, if you go to the billing account, and there you'll get the credit details. So where initially on your account of credit will be this 24,530, and it will be valid for 90 days. That detail you will be able to see on your free trial account. Okay, and this is how the billing looks like. And we'll go to the reports. You can see what all services it is using. Okay, so here you can change it to current month or last month, so you can see what all services you are using on your account. Okay, so this is about the billing. So on your free trial account, as I told, you can get $300 credit if you are creating the account from US location. If you're creating account in India, so you'll get 24,000, which will be valid for 3 months. After completion of the 3 months, it will ask you to upgrade. So don't upgrade that, because that 3 months credit is more than enough to practice all the hands-on. And if you want to also practice hands-on after completion of the 3 months, you can create another free trial account. So no need to upgrade that.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, got it.
Okay. So yeah. So in this hands-on, what we are going to see is I'll be using a DBT, which is the data build tool. So DBT is not part of GCP services. So it is a third-party tool. Okay. So if you see in your data pipeline, so our data pipeline normally looks like whether it is any IoT sources or any RDBMS sources. Okay. And you'll be ingesting the data. You'll be storing the data in some source system, whether let's call it GCS in case of GCP, and or GCS or BigQuery, whatever it is. So after storing the data in the data engineering term, we call it raw layer or the data lake layer. And then after storing the data in the data lake, so what we do the data transformation. So data transformation, and then after creating the data transformation, after doing the data transformation, we store our data in the data warehouse, okay, which is the, let's say, data warehousing layer or our final layer or staging layer, whatever you can say. So DBT, which is the data build tool, so we mainly use in the data transformation part. So for the data transformation, we are mainly using a DBT. So why you are using DBT? So DBT, if you see, If you don't know Python also, you can build your complete data pipeline just using dbt, because dbt supports SQL script. And recently they have also released the feature, which is released the what you call updated version, which is also supporting the Python script as well. You can write the script in Python, or you can write the script using the SQL. So initially when they released, so initial version that was supporting only SQL, but recently the recent version which they have released, that is supporting so Python as well. dbt has two versions. One is the core, another one is the cloud version. Core, obviously, this is the free version or open source version. Cloud is the paid version. Okay, so it comes with the subscription, and this is not the free, this is the paid version. You can also use the cloud version, but it will be only valid for some days. So let's say only for 30 days or something, you can use the cloud version as well. And dbt the data build tool, you can integrate with any of the data warehousing platform, whether it is BigQuery. So in this demo, since we are discussing about the GCP, we are going to see how to integrate dbt with the BigQuery. But along with the BigQuery, you can, if you want, say, the BigQuery is not the only data warehouse, right? Let's say a project you are using Snowflake. You can integrate dbt with Snowflake. You can integrate dbt with Redshift. You can integrate dbt with PostgreSQL or Databricks. Any data warehousing system, you can integrate dbt. But in this demo, since we are going to discuss about the GCP, so we are going to see the BigQuery. Okay. So how to set up the dbt and how to install, so that is a separate thing. So that it's not possible to cover that in the demo. So as you can see here in this code, so here there are macros. So macro is you can consider is as a function in Python which we are using. So if you are doing some kind of repetitive task, writing the same code again and again, you can create macros. Okay, so we also use macro while working with VBA, while working with Cell. We also create macros as well. And also in case of our BI, also we create some of the macros, and we can call that macro whenever we need. We don't need to write that specific code multiple times. Okay, so this is the macros which I have created. And when you will create the dbt, when you will install dbt on your system and you will do the initialization, it will create the folder structure like this. Okay, so you don't need to change the name of the folder. What you can do, you can write the transformation, whatever you need inside that folder. So for example, macros, you need to write inside the macros folder. Logs folder, whenever you are going to run your pipeline, so the logs will be written to inside the logs folder. Any dbt dependency package you are using, so that you need to specify inside the dbt packages. Similarly, whenever you are creating the data model, so that data model, the transformation part, the logic you need to build, you need to mention it. So you need to store it inside the models folder. Okay, so you should not change the name of this folder. Okay, so these are the default naming convention which dbt is using. Similarly, if you want to store any data, you want to load any data to the BigQuery directly from the from your local system, you can use the dbt command. Okay, so this is whatever we are seeing. So this is the dbt CLI mode or dbt core mode, which is the open source I told, right? There are two modes. One is the core mode or the CLI mode, command line interface mode. Other one is the cloud. Okay. And this demo, whatever we are going to see, so that there we are going to use the dbt code. I have already installed the dbt and I'm using this VS Code IDE. And then, so in dbt, while you are doing the setup, so there will be a project folder, dbt project. And here you can see all the, so this is this project folder will be in the YML file format. So as you can see, I have mentioned all the path name, what is my profile name. I'll talk about this profile. And then for each of the part, what is the part for model? So if you are changing that, again, you will have to change here as well. Okay, so that's why I told you, you should not change it, the standard naming convention, but if you are changing there, you need to change accordingly inside the project DBT project file, because this is the project file. This is the configuration file, or this is the configuration settings which we have mentioned for this project. And then in this project, we are going to create 3 models. So one will be my college scorecard model, which is my source. And then using the college scorecard as the reference, we are going to create the next level or the next model, which is my selective fast gen. Then using that selective fast gen, I'm going to create the third model, which is my fast gen top 10. How I am creating? So that logic will be there inside the models folder. So if you go to here inside the models, I have mentioned the logic for the college scorecard. Okay. So here you can see it is simple SQL only. It is going to use this data set. This is the data set name in BigQuery, and this is the table name in the BigQuery which it is going to use. And then we are using simple SQL. So where we are selecting the columns, and then we are creating our college scorecard table. After creating the college scorecard table, so we are creating the selective fast gen model. So you can see it is using the college scorecard table as the reference to create the next model, which is the select fast gen model. And there also we are using the simple SQL, where we are selecting some of the columns and we are applying some transformation. We are applying some condition. And then after creating the the selective fast gen model, we are creating the selective fast gen top 10 model, which is a view. Okay, so this is not a table. For this model, I'm creating the view. Okay, and here also we are doing some transformation. We are applying some logic. We are using the SQL. Okay, so if you see the DBT project, so this is where the configuration will be mentioned. And let me create this data set in the BigQuery. Okay, so for that, I'll be using the BigQuery. I'll go to BigQuery and I'll load my data from the cloud storage. So I'll create a table in the BigQuery, because if you see the source system, it is going to extract the data from this file, from this table. So this is the data set name. This is the table name in the BigQuery. I'll show you how it is connecting to the BigQuery from the local. So let me use this bucket. And there are multiple ways to upload the file. I will tell you how to. How to upload file. There are multiple ways how to upload the file to the bucket. So right now it is loading. And let me go to BigQuery. I'll be creating a data set with this name. And then, so while creating the data set, you need to specify whether you want to create a regional data set or multi-regional data set. So for every resources which you are going to create in GCP, you need to specify in which location you want to create that resources, because GCP data centers are available across the world in multiple locations. Okay, and you can create the resources in any location, but you need to consider some of the a point while creating the resources in certain location. I'm going to create this data set in the US location, and let me create the data set. I think my file is uploaded. It should not take so much time. Slide. Okay, so it's going to take some time. Or let me truncate it. Let me truncate this file. This actually I should have loaded this for the class. Okay, so let me use this file. So this file is Wait for some time till the file is uploaded. Okay, so I have already uploaded this file here. Let me use it from this bucket. As you can see, same file I have already uploaded earlier. Okay, so let me create the table. And here I'm going to create a table. And I'm going to extract the data from the cloud storage. I know in which bucket my input source file is present. So this is the file. So there are again multiple ways to create the table in the Google BigQuery. So, but let me, for the demo, let me quickly create the table using the console. And I'm going to create the native table. I will use the auto detect schema to create the table. And I know there is one header which is available on the file. Okay, just now we saw. And let me create the table. So while loading the data, it is, as you can see, it created a load job. Okay. And so once the job will be completed, the table will be created and the data will be loaded to the table. So let's see. You can just do a refresh. Okay, so you can see the table is created. So there are many columns. That's why we are not able to see the data. You can also see some of the data here. Up to first 500 columns, you can see the data in the preview mode. Okay. So this file is also uploaded, but this file we have loaded the data. So now we are going to use this table as a source table, and we are going to run our pipeline. So as I told you how it is connecting it. So obviously when you are going to establish the connection from your local system with the GCP BigQuery, you need to use, there are multiple ways, but here we are using the service account. Okay, so we are using a service account. You will see here, I have created the DBT project. And while installing the DBT, while installing the DBT core, you also need to set up the profiles as well. So you can see here inside the .dbt folder, I have my profiles, and if I open the profile, so as you can see here, this is my profile name. Okay, and this again the profile file is in YML format. These are my various profile name. Okay, so this is the profile for BigQuery. This is again for BigQuery. This is for Snowflake, and this is for Snowflake. So we are not interacting with Snowflake, but we use the BigQuery. So we are interested in the BigQuery profile. As you can see here, so this is the profile name, right? DBT BigQuery demo. So this profile name, it should match with the file name which you are using inside the DBT project file. So inside the DBT project file, I have the profile name as DBT BigQuery, and whatever the configuration I have mentioned here, this is for this profile. Okay, and this profile name, it should match with the profiles name which are present inside the profile file. Okay, so you can, as you can see, you can set up multiple profiles. You can create multiple profiles inside the profile file, and so it's not. I'll talk about in detail how to set up this profile. And here you can see it is going to use the DWS bike sharing database or data set. So I need to create this data set as well. So okay, it's already there. So let me delete this table. Okay, and here you can see I have created the key file for my service account. Okay, so this service account needs to have the proper roles and permission, and then I have generated this key file. So the part of that key file I have mentioned here, and as I told, I'm using the service account more to connect to my GCP services from my Google Cloud, from my local system, and then I have mentioned my project ID, with which project ID and which database, which data items in such system I'm going to interact. So everything I have mentioned here. So through this profile file only, I can connect to the GCP resources. Then let's go ahead and run some of the DBT command. So the first command I can run is DBT debug. Okay, so I need to check all the configuration settings, all the settings, whatever I mentioned inside the DBT project, inside the profile file, everything is in sync or not. So right now you can see it is showing some error. Could not load the DBT project, could not load the DBT project, could not load DBT project YML file. Okay, so why it is showing? Because if you see the path name I have mentioned DBT BigQuery, but if you see all the resources are present inside a DBT BigQuery demo, and the command which I ran in the parent directory. So I need to go to that directory where I have all the resources, DBT BigQuery demo, and then let me run the DBT debug. So DBT debug is going to check all the settings and everything is in sync or not, or if there is any issue. So as you saw in the previous case, it found some error, which is the related to the profile file. This profile file is not valid. So could not load the DBT check or DBT project file. Then when I changed the path name, so all checks are passed. Okay. So right now we are good to go ahead and we can run the DBT command. So I'm going to run the DBT. You can do the DBT dry run as well. So, but I'm directly going to run the model. So to run the model, I'm going to use the DBT run command. And it is going to run the model. It is going to create my tables and the views which I have mentioned. So as you can see, it is running the model. This is the source table which it is using. Doc.
One quick question I had.
Yeah.
So we created the new dataset called the CH04, right? In that dataset, you have added the table. I think you have created the table in that dataset.
Yes.
But okay.
Yes.
But you are while running the dataset, which got configured on the DBT profile, the YAML file is something different. So are we not using the dataset that you created? We are using the
So
already
this is the
existed
source
dataset.
dataset. So no, this is the source dataset. Okay. Using this dataset, we are creating the first model, which is the college scorecard model. And that model we are creating inside the DWS by XAM dataset. Okay. So this is my source. So source I have not configured inside the DBT project. So whatever I have configured here, so these are the tables, these are the models which I am going to create. So I'm going to create the college scorecard table. I'm going to create this selective percent table and this selective top 10 table. But how it is going to create this first table? So this first table, college scorecard table, it created using the source table. So source table I created in different data set. So source table I created in CH4 dataset. And then using that source, it created a first model, which is the college scorecard model. Using the college scorecard model, it created the selective fast-gen model. You can see here, it is using the reference. And then using the selective fast-gen model, it created the selective fast-gen top 10 model. Okay, so that is how it has created. So first one is the table, second one is also table, and the last model which it created. So that is the view, that's not table. And you can see here, if you refresh, so here you can see all the tables are created. So don't worry about this model, first DBT and second DBT. So these are the default model. I forgot delete it from the DBT project file. So that's why it got these two model got created. But you can see the college scorecard model which it has created. And if you will go to the preview, so these are the data. Okay, and then you can see the selective fast-gen model, which it has created using the college scorecard model. I'll also tell you how to see that. You can create a lineage graph, you can create a documentation as well. So those are the advantages of using the DBT. And here you can see the this is the view. So for the view, you can't see you don't have the preview feature. You can't see the data. So, but for the tables, you can see the data, but a view can also query. So if you want to run the query, you can go ahead and you can query. Can run the query.
I think the last one is the materialized view, right? So it will store the data in somewhere in the BigQuery.
So this is the view. This is not the table. This is the view, and it will not store the data. It will just have the view.
So it's a materialized view, right?
So it is just a no. It is not materialized table. It is not materialized. It is just a view.
Oh, okay.
So so this way, like you can query the view, and then if you want to create the documentation for it, you can also generate the documentation using the DBT. There are some DBT again CLI command which you can use to create the documentation. So for example, you can use the DBT docs command, and it is going So it has created the documentation. And now if I'll go ahead and I can load that documentation to that to some port, and I can see the documentation on the web.
Hey, Swagat, I'm not able to see your screen. I think is it for me or for all? I don't know.
Are you able
Yeah,
to
for me
see
also.
now?
No, I think so. We
Like-
lost you in the middle. Yeah, like the 2 to 3 minutes back. We don't know what you said. So we heard until like the docs.
Yes. Okay. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, we
Can you
can
see
see
the
it.
screen now?
Yes, we are able to see.
So what I did, yeah, so first I created the documentation for it. So whatever models I have created, so based on the models, I created the documentation for it. And then I load that documentation to this port so that I can see the documentation on the web browser. So now the documentation is loaded on this port, on this and if you go to the localhost 8001, you can see documentation, you can see the lineage graph. So right now I'm going to, so this is the, I can see it is already loaded on the 8001. And I can see the project name. So this is my project name. Okay. So let me know. I think the internet connection is not stable. So let me know if you are not able to see my screen or if any issues with the audio. So as you can see here in the project, I have macros. Okay. I have the model name. I have the seed file. Okay. So I didn't use everything. I didn't use the seed file, but I use the models and the macros. And then I can see the graph as well. So you can see the source code for each of the model here. So you can see the source code for college scorecard table, what is the size, how many rows you have loaded, what is the size for selective fast change model, or what is the size, and you can see where it is loaded. Okay. So everything you can see on the documentation. You can go to columns, you can see depends on which model. So as you can see here, this model depend on this model. And now if I go to the second model, this model depend on the college scorecard model. So you can see that, and you can see the code as well. So this is the source code. This is the compiled code. So you can see the source code where I have used the reference, and here this is the compiled code. Also, you can see the lineage graph as well. So we created the college scorecard model first. Using the college scorecard model, we created the selective fast change model. And then from there, we created the view, which is the fast change top 10. Okay. So you can see that you can generate this documentation and you can see it. Okay. In the class also, like we are going to see some of the advanced feature of the DBT. Along with that, I will also show you how to, so this was about the pipeline, right? We created the pipeline. Now the thing is like how we orchestrate this pipeline, how we can, like we can create a workflow around this pipeline so that we can call this pipeline and we can schedule the pipeline. So for that, we are going to use the Airflow, and I'll also show you how to do the setup using Airflow and DBT in the class itself. So this is the demo. If you have any questions, you can ask. Again, I think the demo, like we almost took 1 hour. Fine, you can ask any questions if you have.
So could you please go back to that YAML file where you configure the doc to generate the docs? So I think we missed that. This is the command to generate the logs, but have you configured something, right?
No, this is the command to generate the logs, and then based on the models and based on the macros, it is going to generate the logs, like how you have created your models, the past model, and then using this, I am creating the next model. So it will based on the model how you are building, so it will automatically, like what you call it will automatically check that how you are creating, and then it is going to generate the docs. You don't need to do anything, any setup to create the docs for it. So that is the advantages of using these tools. You can, it is going to generate the docs automatically. So based on the model.
Okay.
And then to solve the docs in some port, or to upload the docs in some port, you can use any of the port 8080 or 8001, and it will go to that local host, to that port. You'll be able to see the docs, and you'll be able to see the lineage graph as well. Okay. Any questions from this?
Yes, one last question from my end. So currently we are using DBT third-party rule, right? So with this YAML file, we are interconnecting with GCP, or how it is interconnecting, because we are reading the source data, right, from GCP. So that just I want a question there.
Yeah. So yeah, related to that question only. So in the service account, have you had given any permissions like to use this service? Here you are using the both the services, like the
Obviously you'll have
like the GCS, GCS as well as the BigQuery, right? What are those permissions have you given?
Yeah, obviously the service account, you need to provide the permission. So I have used the storage admin and the BigQuery admin permission. Anyway, storage admin is not also needed, because it is going to only interact with the BigQuery services. So BigQuery admin's permission is more than enough.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other question? So like this, like I'll be building some one or more hands-on in the class, and I'll give you some couple of hands-on for you to practice on your own after the class. So you need to do that, and if you face any issues while doing that hands-on, you can let me know, can discuss. That is how it is going to happen in the class.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay, fine.
Any questions? Dinesh, Vinod, Bharat?
No questions from my end, Ganesh.
Yeah, no questions, but I think we need to configure this DBT in our laptop, and from there we have to see
Yeah,
how
that
to.
like the class, I'll tell you completely like how to install it, how to configure it, also how to use the DBT cloud as well. So everything I'll tell you, because it's not possible in one class to do it, to configure it completely.
Okay. I'm good. I don't have anything else to do.
Okay then.
Fine. Then, if you have any questions, any concern, you can let Ganesh know.
Yeah, sure, Swagat.
Thank you. Thank you, Swagat.
Thank
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that.